Hello, fifth grade. This is Miss Gibson coming to you with your math lesson for today. So, of course, you guys should be on Unit 6, lesson number 27. All right. So, make sure you have this out. Make sure you have your notes out from the previous day because, of course, we're going to still be building on what you guys were learning yesterday and the day before and last week. And then any pencils, piece of paper that you need to have, and erasers to get through your problem solving task and practice problems for today. Go ahead and get those materials out. As we begin, I want you guys to just do number 1 on your PST and then come back to the video. So go ahead and pause. Elizabeth wants to say hi. Go ahead and pause the video, do number 1, then stop and come back to the PST. Awesome. Welcome back from doing just number 1. So number 1 wanted you to simplify 3x plus 7x, and then why can you add these terms together? So this is review off of what you guys have been working on and adding on to from yesterday. So first, if you were to simplify this, what is the final answer? Correct. The final answer is 10x because we have 3x plus 7x, which is going to give us 10x. Now, next thing is why can you add these terms together? Right. So they both have x next to that whole number. So these are considered like terms. Like think of it as we add fractions. We can't add fractions with different denominators, right? So in this case, we cannot add we can only add like terms. So that's why 3x plus 7x are like terms, and you can add them together to get to 10x. So realize that they both have x, so this is why we are able to do that. So you want to think of it as 3x could be the same as x plus x plus x because the coefficient would be 1, and then the 7x is basically x added to each other 7 times all over, so they have the same unit in the same term. Now I want you guys to try out number 2. Pause the video and get started, and then come back when you are done. All right, so number 2, let's look over this. It says, how is the expression 3x plus 7y different from the one above? Do you think you could simplify it the same way? So what is the difference between 3x plus 7y and 3x plus 7x? Exactly. So they aren't like terms. So that one has an X, one has a Y. Those are different variables. So you cannot add these together at all. So realize that these do not have the same terms or variables as number 1. So that's why you cannot simplify this or solve this in the same manner. Okay. So let's add that in here. So because these have unlike terms, you cannot simplify this any lower than what you can. All right. So now you guys know that you can only add like terms together. You cannot add unlike terms together. So this would be the lowest that it will be for simplifying. So since we just went over 1 and 2, I want you guys now to try number 3 and do A, B, C, and D. So go ahead and try to simplify the following expressions. Pause the video and get started. Awesome. Welcome back. So, as you are working, I hope you guys are practicing like circling those like terms so it's easier for you to see and add them as you are working through your steps to get steps. All right. So, what I'm going to do is highlight as we go the like terms in order to simplify these types of expressions. So, let's look at A. We have 2x plus 2y plus x. What term or terms am I circling in order to simplify this problem further? Correct. I am simplifying, well, circling first 2x plus x. So in this case, I'm going to do 2x and I'm going to do x. Now, I know here that I need to be adding that 2x plus x and then leaving the 2y as is because I cannot do anything with the y, since that is a different variable from the x. So because I have 2x plus x, I'm going to put these in parentheses first just so you guys can see this. And then add the y plus 2y at the end. I know that my next row is going to equal 3x plus 2y as my final answer. Elsa, I was going to say hi one more time. Okay, now let's get on to B's. Awesome, now let's get into B. So what are we highlighting? Well, circling here. Correct, we are highlighting the 3y plus y, and we are leaving out the 4x because it has an unlike term that we cannot simplify. So in this case, I'm just going to highlight both of those together. And now that we highlighted them, I know that I need to add 3y plus y and then plus 4x, which then is going to equal 4y plus 4x as my final answer. So I can't simplify this any further because they have, again, two different types of variables. So that y and that x. All right, now let's look at C. What terms are we supposed to be circling here? Now, this is where it's going to get tricky, right? So here we have two sets where we should be circling. So the first set is going to be circled in red because we are circling the x's. And then the next one we are going to do is circle the y's because the y is in blue. Okay. All right. So with that being said, we know that we can only circle specific ones because of the fact that these have two different sets here. So we know that the next set that we need to circle is going to be different from the other set because we have two types of numbers here. We have 8x minus 2x and 1, and then we're adding in 2x plus y. So realize why these are different. Okay, so I know that I'm doing 8x minus 2x because the subtraction sign is directly in front of this variable, this term right here. Okay, so don't get caught up with trying to add everything together. You are going with the one directly in front, all right, of that variable. So just like it says plus y, I'm adding in that plus y here. Now, this is again going to be 8x minus 2x, which is going to give us 6x, and then 2y plus y, which is going to be 3y. Okay. So again, realize why I did minus 2x because right here it's minus 2x and right in front of this term. So I'm just going to keep continuing with the information that's given to me and not switching it up. Let's look at D. Now, again, we have two different things that could be circled. Again, these numbers without a variable are called constants. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that as well, because these are also unlike terms with the variable x or y, because they don't have that there. So we know that these numbers will not be changing if we were ever to find out what x could be represented by. So I know for here that I'm going to be highlighting 2x plus 8x, or 8x plus 2x. And then I'm going to also be highlighting next this 10 minus 4. Okay. So two different sets here that needs to be highlighted and then simplified to solve. So again, I have 8x plus 2x plus 10 minus 4. And in order to solve this, 8x plus 2x, that is 10x plus 6 because 10 minus 4 is that. And that's as low as it can go as far as simplifying this, because we can only simplify as far as we can considering the variables or like terms that are given. Okay, so it cannot go any lower than these expressions here because we do not know what x or y is representing. We cannot solve for that. All right, so again, this is as low as it can go. And again, you cannot add those constants to numbers that have a variable because those are considered unlike terms. All right, so we are now going to get into some notes before you guys get into some guided practice. All right. So we are going to, all right. So now you guys are going to pause the video and write down these notes. So realize the notes for today. If there are unlike terms, do not add. You cannot add terms that have different variables. Example 2x plus 2y. This cannot be simplified further because they have different variables, which is x or y. And then getting into some definitions that we are some are circle back to. A variable is a letter that stands for a specific value. So we know that's in this case, I'm just going to add in the example. So 3x, x is the variable. And then we know that a coefficient is the number that is attached to a variable. So in this case, 3x, if you're looking at 3x, 3 is the coefficient because it's attached to x, which is the variable. And then a constant is a number on its own without the variable. So in this case, if we said 3x plus 6, 6 is the constant because it is just a whole number without the variable. All right. Now, pause the video and write these notes down. Awesome. Welcome back from writing your notes. I hope you guys are understanding what's going on and making sure that we are only adding like terms just as though we were fractions, but we can't change them at this point. Now let's get into some guided practice. We're going to do the first these two together, and then you will get into the practice packet for today. So, guided practice, you're going to write a simplified expression. So again, you are always going to practice circling or highlighting those terms that are the same so that you guys can know what you should be solving or adding together. Also, when you are doing these, you need to make sure that you are only putting in that specific um, operation that's directly in front of that term to help you solve. So for number one, what am I highlighting? Correct. I am highlighting 19x minus 12x. The reason being because these are the only two that have the same variable. And we know that these are only like terms in this expression that will help me simplify this. So I know for my first step, I need to do 19x minus 12x because the subtraction is directly in front of 12x. And then it's plus 10y plus 5. Oh, which gives me a final answer of 7x plus 10y plus 5. Now, at this point, can I do anything with this 5 that's standing on its own? No, because at this point, these are all considered unlike terms, and this is as far as we can go for simplifying this expression. All right, let's go to number two. Number two, what am I highlighting? Or circling rather, because you guys would technically be circling these if you did them on your own. Correct. I am circling all three terms for the beginning. 9x minus 4x plus 8x. Why am I not including the 12? Exactly, because the 12 is not the same, considered the same term as 9x or 4x or 8x because it does not have an x at the end. So now I'm going to solve for 9x minus 4x plus 8x. And again, you guys are just going to do the same as if we're working from left to right here, right? Plus 12. So this would equal, so 9x minus 4x is 5x plus 8x plus 12. And then lastly, 5x plus 8x is 13x plus 12. All right. So at this point, if you guys have any questions off of the guided practice or us simplifying expressions, please write those notes down, write your questions down so you can reach out to your teachers. Now, you guys are going to get started on the practice packet for today. Make sure you were showing your work for all 8 questions. Make sure you're circling what's going on so you understand what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be adding, and of course, only doing the operation that's directly in front of the specific terms in order to get your work correct. So go ahead and pause the video and get started. All right, so welcome back from trying out all of the practice packet. So I'm just gonna go straight across. So I'm gonna be going from like 1 to 5 to 2 to 6 instead of going straight down from 1 to 4, then rolling back up to go to 5 to 8. All right, so let's look at number 1. So we have 8x plus 2y plus 7x minus y plus 10. So of course, what I've highlighted first was 8x plus 7x. And then I put them in parentheses because I needed to solve those together. And then in my next set of parentheses, since I have another set that has the same variable, I have 2y minus y, and then plus 10. So 8x plus 7x is 15x plus y, because 2y minus y. Again, if y or any variable is on its own, think of it as 1y. So technically this would be 2y minus 1y. So that's why I only have y here. So 15x plus y plus 10 as my final answer. Number 5, I have 85d minus 80d plus 3 minus 1. So in my parentheses, I have 2 sets since I have 2 different types of variable terms going on and like terms. So 85d minus 80d, 80d is 5d, and then plus 3 minus 1, which is 2. So 5d plus 2. Number 2, I have 3r plus 2t minus r plus 5t. So of course, I made sure to put in my first set of parentheses 3r minus r plus 2t plus 5t. And then when I solve that, 3r plus 1r minus 1r is 2r, and then 2t plus 5t is 7t. So 2r plus 7t is my final answer. Number 6, 1.5x plus 9y plus 2.7x minus 2y. So again, I highlighted, I have 2 different sets going on. I have 2 unlike terms here. So I made sure to put in my first set of work 1.5x plus 2.7x. And then that got me to 4.2x. And then 9y minus 2y is 7y. So my final answer is 4.2x plus 7y. I hope you guys are getting this good correct and understanding what we're supposed to be doing as we simplify expressions. Again, write those questions down if you think you were confused a little bit. Okay, number 3, I have x plus 10y minus x plus 10 plus 2. So in this case, I of course put x minus x in my first set of parentheses plus 10y plus 10 minus 2. Now, x minus x, so this is like 1x minus 1x is going to lead me to 0. So there's nothing left over. And then plus 10y plus 8, because 10 minus 2 is 8. Oh, I'm sorry. It's supposed to be 10 plus 2. I'm just going to fix that really quick. 10 plus 2, which is 12. So my final answer would be 10y plus 12. All right. Now, on to number 7. What do we notice here with our fractions? So even though these are constants, they don't have variables, but they're still considered like terms unless we go fix them. So what is going on and what should I be doing? Right. We should still be making sure that we have a common denominator for fractions. So I, of course, needed to make sure that that was going to be able to be added together. So I fixed them to be added together here by making that denominator the same. again, you can only do this if you have a fraction. You cannot just do a random switch or try to fix the x's or y's together because we don't know what that variable stands for, okay? But we don't know if that would ever be filled with anything right now. So this is an expression. So you cannot solve for x or y in this moment. You can only just simplify these answers, all right? So that gives me to 8 12s plus 3 12s plus 6c, because it was 4c plus 2c. And then my final answer is 11 12s plus 6c. All right. And then number four. So we have 5g plus 10g minus 4g plus 6x plus 6 minus 2. Realize all these numbers here. All right. Realize the importance of circling your numbers, only solving for the same term only, and then going about your work that way. If you decide to try to not circle or not highlight or not underline these like terms, you will be so confused because you don't know what could be grouped together with something else. So this is the importance of having those terms grouped together, okay, or the constants, or the variables and things like that. So I'm first solving 5g plus 10g minus 4g, and that's one set, plus 6x plus 6 minus 2. So again, 5g plus 10g, that's 15g, minus 4g still in parentheses, and then plus 6x plus 4, because 6 minus 2 is 4. Then 15g minus 4g gives me 11g, and then I bring everything else down. 11g plus 6x plus 4. Secret code time. Your secret code for today is resistance. All right. So make sure you're spelling that correctly. RESISTANCE, resistance. And then lastly, number 8 for your practice problem. And I hope you guys are understanding again everything that we're supposed to be doing using those notes. Okay. You have 3x plus 2x minus x. And then on the side, plus 5y. So 3x plus 2x is 5x minus x plus 5y. And then last answer, as simplified as it can be, is 4x plus 5y. So realize the work that we did, the groupings that we're doing, and adding and simplifying or subtracting to get to that work. Again, use these notes. These notes are here to help you. And this is why we're still writing notes so you guys can understand how to add simplify any types of expressions, okay? So that's including with constants, which are numbers without a variable, includes those variables in unlike and like terms. All right, so go ahead and get into that exit ticket. Again, make sure you are grouping together those terms that have the same variable, all right? Or if they don't have a variable, how else you're going to put that. And then, of course, this is going to lead back to what we worked on before, writing an expression out. How are you going to write that expression out? Using those parentheses. This is why I put the parentheses here in our work today so you guys can visualize what's actually going on and the steps to solve your work. All right. So go ahead and get into that exit ticket and make sure you are doing the workout on the side so that it makes sense and you can visually see what you're doing. Do not try to do this work in your head. All right, so go ahead and get into that exit ticket and have a great Wednesday.